Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta, and we're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. In Kolkata's Arjikar Medical College, the horror has not only united the citizens of West Bengal, but the ripple effects are being felt far and wide across the nation. Doctors are on a war path, with the Indian Medical held across India. OPD services were disrupted nationwide due to the 24-hour strike called by the IMA in protest. Now, the IMA has requested for a central law with mandatory security measures. The Supreme Court too, while taking up the matter today, said it was deeply concerned over the absence of conditions of safety for doctors and medical professionals across the country. The Apex Court also observed for another rape for things to change on the ground. There were plenty of questions for the West Bengal government too, which finds itself on the back foot after a national movement has taken shape. First up, let's take a look at how the Mamata government faced the top court's scrutiny and ire today. Some of the questions that the CGI and others mounted. While questioning the delay in the filing of the FIR, the top court asked the state government, why did the principal try to pass it off as a suicide initially? Why were the parents not allowed to see their daughter's body, but after being made to wait for a few hours? Referring to the ex-principal Sandeep Ghosh being given the charge of the Calcutta National Medical College soon after he resigned from this college, the Supreme Court questioned the rehabilitation done by the state government. It further cited that if the autopsy was done by 4:45 and the body was taken for cremation at 8:30 p.m., then why was the FIR only lodged at 11:45 p.m. that night? Why did no one at the hospital initially bother to register an FIR? That should be the first step that anyone would take. SC also wondered, why is it that there were these theories floating even though the autopsy was done by that afternoon? Was it not clear by the autopsy that was done that this was a case of rape and murder? Was there some sort of an attempt initially to spin the narrative or to even mislead the parents who say that they initially told their son could be suicide? In fact, the victims' parents have made massive allegations against the principal, the entire department and the state administration as well. Parents have alleged that there was a deliberate attempt that was made to destroy evidence in this case. They have alleged that the principal, the entire department involved in the murder. Parents claim that their daughter was cremated in haste, further adding to the destruction of evidence theory. The parents also questioned the role of police on how they tried to close the matter quickly. Clearly something was afoot. They have also highlighted the fact that the Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee, has tried every possible way to stop the growing protest demanding justice for their daughter. And the entire government has now looked on the back foot. In fact, let me play out some pictures. Last week, remember, we saw a mob of about 7,000 attack peaceful protesters at Arjikar, even vandalize the building and try to destroy more evidence. Today, Kolkata police came down heavily on peaceful ABVP protesters. The protesters were marching to Swasthya Bhavan, State Health Department in Kolkata's Salt Lake area, demanding the Chief Minister's resignation. But the state government did not pay heed to the Supreme Court observation, which asked it to refrain from unleashing its peaceful protest by the Supreme Court bench today. The big question we ask is this: the Supreme Court has come down very heavily on the Bengal government. Does it have the answers? And do those answers cut ice as far as this case is concerned? That we'll take to our guests. Here's the top story.
Chief Justice of India in the hearing observed that the principle was promoted and reinstated. The Chief Justice of India observed that the state did not file an initial FIR of murder and rape.
What do you have to say on the, the observation, the order which came from the Supreme Court?
We are welcoming some of the decisions and some of the observations made by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. But
you will get justice. We are all with you. जब आपका कन्वीनियंस है मैं वहाँ घर आऊँगा, हम सब आपके साथ हैं.
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Shazia Ilmi, national spokesperson of the BJP. Shabnam Dey is a political analyst, leans towards the TMC. Adwaita Kala is author and screenwriter. President of the I do thank you for your time. I want to begin with Shabnam Dey first. Shabnam, the response we've seen from the college first, then the police, then the state government, the party in power. I'm distinguishing both. And then, of course, you look at what the what the police has been doing even today. It's been sending notices to people on social media. It's almost as if the entire focus and strength is being put on subverting the protests and people's voices rather than on justice. And that's exactly the question the Supreme Court was asking today. Shabnam.
Good evening. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to showcase the real thoughts of Bengal. It's not a matter of fact that police is sending notice to the commoners who are protesting. The ground reality is that there are which is tensing the environment, causing violent terror. And very sad and pathetic that I'm also the mother of the daughter, that a daughter has been passed away. Like brutal, means undergoing a brutal and rape and murder. So protesters, there are these up and circulating whatnot. Victims' parents also requested them not to take selfie in front of their home and to circulate all the other sort of, which is not needed, sensitive issue.
No, I get that.
So,
and I am the first one to say that actually anybody who's trying to spread any misinformation or fake news around this case or any case be defended. It's just the thrust, Shabnam, of the government and the police seems to be on exactly the opposite of what it should be. If the Chief Minister is not sitting on a protest herself, it sounds ludicrous. The police is, thrashing protesters who are just marching peacefully. Let's remember what the Supreme Court said today, that the state should not be coming down on protesters as it has in the past. I mean, what happened in that midnight case, even if to use that as the handiwork of, miscreants, this is the police that needs to cooperate with the public in letting out its anger and also being able to express its protest. That's what a democracy is.
Shivani, one thing you will appreciate, and I am very thankful to your media also covering when the vandalism started, and it was, which is not at all wanted by the people of Bengal, that 7,000 crowds under no leadership, and they started gathering in many places, coming from there and started vandalism suddenly, which you have also shown in your videos and media, and you have given a long vandalism video in your media. But the thing is that police was very much careful committing any untoward incident which happened in Nandigram or Hasna or so many places, Unnan, Patras by UP government, MP government. But West Bengal government was very much alert and regarding their actions, police was in vigil. And when our CM, Mamta Banerjee, she is also understand this
Government is facing questions that, frankly don't have anything to do with the gender of the Chief Minister. I don't know why that's a factor at all. But Shazia Ilmi, what do you make of the defenses that are coming in from the TMC, the police, the administration, and the questions that were posed by the Supreme Court today? The Supreme Court only seems to be voicing the concern that many have voiced, which is that the focus of the state is either ensuring that this doesn't get out of hand, the protests don't embarrass them, or there was a suspicion that there was a thrust to take the investigation in the wrong direction.
It's disturbing. While I consider the our actions, individual and national as a collective entity that we are as a people, I would say here in this particular case that for the first time we're seeing a head of a state actually defending the rapists by allowing destruction of evidence at several levels. Not just that, there are very being made and statements being made by Kunal Ghosh, by Udayan Guha, and by Arup Ghosh. And so much people are saying if some asks at us. Somebody is saying, Arup Ghosh is saying something like, he's telling the protesting doctors that if you're using the protests to roam around with your boyfriends, then don't come to me when there's an outrage against you. Not just that, he's saying, just try to your hand. Whataboutery doesn't help. But right now, here is a simple case of this party, of this government, of this CM actually protecting those who have gotten away after such a unspeakable and we are talking about it. Something very important, Shivani, I want to add. You were talking about identity. And do you know who revealed the identity the first time around? It is a very famous YouTuber called Dhruv Rathi. He was pulled up, but by that time there were 66,000 likes. To bring it down, but already, and there were 12,000 reposts. Where one of the first ones to reveal the identity of this this young doctor of ours, our young sister who lost her life, and in such a gruesome manner. So a lot needs to be done where that is concerned.
The timeline.
And for the first time, we are seeing complete and abject, denial of justice, and not just for the first time. We will talk about other rape cases, and you should. But I've never seen a chief minister go out of their way to destroy justice, evidence, and to subvert justice, like we're seeing in West Bengal.
Yeah, no, I've never seen such a big game, a big match being cancelled, for example, just because, there could have been protests during that match and the police used law and order as an excuse to cancel that match. I mean, that's unheard of. But in any case, I want to go across to Dr. R.V. Ashokan as well. So the timeline is the biggest issue here. I'll come to you, doctor security across the country. But look at the timeline. The autopsy is done first. The body is taken for cremation on the same day after making the parents wait for the body for about 3 hours. The custodian tells us that the two bodies, the girls were cremated first. Those people who were up in arms during Hathras episode seem to have gone very quiet now. And then at much later, after that, the FIR is lodged. So the suspicion is clearly, and the parents also suspect that in the initial few hours, when the body was discovered in the morning, there was an attempt to erase evidence, there was an attempt by there outlined that timeline. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, that is true. We had been with the parents, the parents of the victim. They said all these things personally to us. Conveyed that it was a suicide. The way that they were made to wait for 3.5 hours, and ultimately the principal did not meet us. That's something certainly more than a normal rape. It's not a normal rape or a normal murder. There is something a big some which is exposing some of them. Now, whatever may be the identity of the person, even if our colleagues are going to be involved with that, Indian Medical Association and the medical fraternity will not associate with those criminals.
To you as well. Politically convenient rape cases can be, or inconvenient, depending on whether you're in power or who's in power and where in power.
Yes, and Shivani, the thing is that the violence that we're seeing coming from West Bengal is not something that is very new. It has been going on for the last couple of years. We saw those horrific images of BJP workers being struck, and very gruesome things. Most recently, we saw Sandesh Khali, where it was a case of mass rapes. Those accusations came forward. And Mamata Banerjee seems to have developed some sort of playbook to deal with these things, wherein she brazens it out. And a certain section of the political establishment, which again does not question her because they're looking at larger goals, so to speak, to remove Modi. So, with these two as crutches, he has brought out a lot of things, different this time around is that in the state itself, the ordinary Bengali, the ordinary girl has stood up in response and has taken it on. And she does not have the support of saying it is political violence. So, what? No time around, Bhadralok. It is the normal, everyday Bengali. It is the girl on the streets. It is the doctors who are notable members of society who have said enough is enough. This is one of us. We cannot let this carry on. And that's why she's spooked. And that's why the Kolkata police is behaving in this manner, that even the Supreme Court has said you need to stop intimidating normal people.
Exactly.
Who are just exercising their rights.
Yeah, I mean, I just want Shabnam Dey to come in and respond to what Advaita Kala and others are saying. This has become a tactic kind of okay, one party against the other. This doesn't work when it comes down on the citizens. This doesn't fly, not in a democracy like India. Eventually, you will have to answer for what is happening in West Bengal. That is the message that the Supreme Court is also sending today. That stop using the state's might in ensuring, one, that it comes across as not brutally wanting to silence the public and is sympathetic to them and their cause, and secondly, invests its energy in actually fast-tracking the investigation. As long as it was with the police, and even now with the SIT trying to do a parallel investigation, even though the CBI has it's very good, Shabnam Dey. Shabnam Dey and Advaita Kala, please.
Shivani, what you have right now, from the opinion, the West Bengal, just next to Bangladesh, there are some intruders trying to volatilize the situation, and some people there who are trying to make the sensitive issue more sensitive and causing a violent terror. So police is actually dealing with them without showing any. And Bangladesh, it happened very political vandalism and everything happened, as you have also your channel covered up.
Ma'am, Shabnam, the Bangladesh situation. No, I'm sorry. The Bangladesh situation is not comparable to what is happening in West Bengal. Let's not compare the two situations. The genesis of both of those things are completely different.
Shivani, you might not be knowing that many intruders are interfering and creating violence. It is political and they are trying to this BJP. They never got the mandate of the people. Now they are trying to come backdoor to dismantle these.
But blame the BJP and the left already, so it's not new what you're saying. But this is what I'm saying. It's not sufficient to keep saying the opposition is trying to dismantle the government or destabilize the government. These are ordinary students, ordinary women who are protesting, men and women both. These are not associated with politics at all, least of all the BJP's politics, I think. Yes, Shazia.
DYFI.
Distressing to hear something like this, that this sensitive situation is being made more sensitive and comparing it to Bangladesh. There are very specific, ma'am don't scream, it's my turn now. I want to respectfully ask you to just listen in. What the question is, what is the need for a parallel SIT probe? And initially, why were the girl's parents not allowed to see her body, which was mutilated for 3 hours? What was the hurry in cremating it? What was happening before that, where the CCTV footage was trying to be deleted through a bunch of unruly mob? Why did the police arrive late on the scene of crime after the girl was already declared dead? And not just that, why were phone calls made to the parents talking about suicide? Who are these people? Who are they protecting? That is a question, and it's gone beyond BJP and Congress now, ma'am. It's gone beyond everything, because there's students, there are regular folks who want to know this. So, don't allow anybody to do politics, but nobody is destabilizing you. No. Mamta is destabilizing her own government by giving in to criminals.
No.
And rapists. So, that is a reality.
Not at all. Because these protesters are now divided into many segments.
But that's the case everywhere. Ma'am, Shabnam ji, that's the case everywhere. That's the case in any protest.
In general,
no, I find it interesting, Shivani, that more time is being spent analyzing the demographics of the protesters than the actual pursuit of justice.
Advaita wants to come in. I think Dr. Asokan will also have a view on what you're saying, because it's primarily the doctors who are mounting these protests. And I'll bring him in, but Advaita wants to come in. Yes.
Yeah, I find it interesting, Shivani, that more time is spent, analyzing the demographics of the protesters. Who is political? Who is this? Which section of society? From outside? From inside? I mean, should the protesters really be your focus? You have a police force that is not able to secure a crime scene. You are not answering why that didn't happen. And here you want to go ahead and send legal notices to women online who are posting about the horror of Kolkata. I mean, their priorities are so mixed up. It's all about, their political reputation. They don't care about what the police has not done. They don't care that the forensic team landed up at the crime site 5 hours after the crime and all the liquid and evidence had coagulated. These are relevant questions to be asked. Yeah. But instead, they want to discuss the profile of the protester.
No, and are only protests that are by people that are, part of your larger worldview legitimate protests? By that logic, no protest would be legitimate. It's primarily people who are opposed to you and your politics and your way of functioning who come down on the streets. But in this case, it's primarily the doctors at RG that were protesting. They were the first ones to mount the protest. Dr. Asokan, your view on, the entire protest being deemed as political or some sort of bid to incite people. I think one of their leaders, Kunal Ghosh, said this is when the Reclaim the Night protest was launched by women, he said that this was a bid to incite. Incite whom? Against whom?
Indian Medical Association is a political professional organization. In fact, our State Secretary and past National President, Dr. Santanu Sen, was a spokesperson of Renam. But in this case, he said, I am a father first, I am a doctor next, and I am a State Secretary of Indian Medical Association. And in this case, I am not the spokesperson, and he was removed also.
Yes.
So the IMA doctors, we are one. We don't have politics. This is about a professional issue. What happened to one of our young colleagues?
Yeah. Dr. Asokan, can I also take your view on what the Supreme Court said today? The doctors have also been wanting a pan-India consideration of the Doctors Protection Act, and the Supreme Court has formed a task force to look into this. Your thoughts on that? And when can we see at least no strikes take place? Because ordinary people would be affected by that, and that's what everybody would want to know. I have seen statements from multiple medical associations that have said that they're not withdrawing their protests or whatever strikes they were doing from time to time. Can you give us the latest from the IMA on this?
There are two issues. One is the safety, security of the healthcare professionals. I think the entire focus of the Supreme Court is on this. The other issue of whether a legislation has to be there or not, Central Act, it's a policy matter entirely to the Union government.
Okay.
The Supreme Court has not said anything about it. Supreme Court has confined itself to the safety, security, all the now demand of withdrawing service on 24th. The first thing was the Central Act. The demand of Central Act is on the national government, and we have put it forward, and the government has said do. So we have called our state branches today evening on a Zoom, and tomorrow all the RDAs are assembling in IMA.
Okay.
We will sit together and fight. See, the protest doesn't mean strike.
But will there be strikes too? Will there be strikes too, or will you convince all medical associations to at least not strike?
Please understand, we are aggrieved. The national government has not come up with an adequate response. And we need to respond to them. It is our right to ask the national government to enact a law.
Okay.
They have different reasons to say no. We will decide.
Shazia, you want to come in? 30 seconds I have left on this.
Yes, definitely. So I think the central government is talking about a legislation, but the law and order completely is with the states. It's a concurrent list. But I want to say that even if there is protection given, and you're talking only about the doctors, but I think everybody needs to be protected, whether it's doctors, engineers, nurses, IT professionals. There are Vishakha guidelines and all of that, but it'll have to be implemented by the states at the end of the day. It'll have to be the local police at that area, in that state, which will have to do it. So you can ask them and they will do it. But the fact of the matter is the implementation is totally done by the state police, by the state administration. And that, I'm afraid, has crumbled and collapsed, because definitely there is something going on in Kolkata which makes everybody suspect that there are some gruesome monsters who are on the run and they're being protected. And that is what worries and ails all of us.
Yeah.
None of us are saying that rapes don't happen anywhere else. That is a point of contention and worry for each one of us.
Because the suspicion is that there are multiple rapists as far as this case is concerned, and murderers, and yet we haven't really had any concrete progress that has happened. Of course, the CBI has taken over the case and they will also have to start afresh. But I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. I'm just switching over to the other big case of rape that has come to light, and that is of course from Maharashtra. Remember, there were angry protests by locals after 2 young kids have been sexually assaulted. They had stormed a local railway station. These are some of the visuals that we're playing out on the screen. The Railway Police Commissioner to CNN News 18 has spoken and said that soon railway services will restart. There are railway management services as far as this local area is concerned. Let's also go across Mayur joining us. Yes, Mayuresh, give us the latest.
Absolutely right. I'm standing on Badlapur station and the scenario over here is completely different. What we have been seeing since last 10 hours. You can see that the police have taken entire control of the Badlapur station and they have dispersed the protesting crowd who was demanding the capital punishment should be given today itself to the culprit. The police have managed to get the control, and now as you have already given the information to our viewers, that the railway police is in touch with the railway management, central railway management, to resume the service, because this stations, the train service between Badlapur to Kalyan and further was basically got disrupted because of this particular protest. A lot of other trains, the outstation trains got diverted to Mumbai via some route. One of the crowded stations, I can say, on the central railway line, and that's why it was very important for railway police to disperse the crowd and resume or help the railway management to restart this disrupted service. So we are expecting that in a short while the railway service, the local railway will start, and it will. Meanwhile, the police, the railway service, with the local police are in the city. They are in the city, and in every lane they are trying to so that should not gather again and do the protest. Because if you remember that Maharashtra CM Eknath Shinde also spoken to CNN, and he clearly said that I request everyone not to take law in their hands. We are this case in the fast track. Back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I do thank you, Mayuresh, for joining us. Time for us to slip into a very short break. On the other side, we will debate yet another big U-turn of Narendra Modi government. This is government positions are concerned. Is it because of the ally and the opposition pressure, or was the government or the party this time, the BJP, wary of the reservation spin and therefore once bitten was twice shy? We'll come back with this after a short break.
At the same time, I'll record every, and if you go through all the records, you will find that Maharashtra is the only state which is implementing this child safety measures very strictly and stringently. So we'll see whether the committee will form or not.
By the time the authorities swing into action, such horrendous, unfortunate incidents have taken place already. We can't take away those times, those phases.
No. We have instructed all schools, we have formed the committees. In spite of that, if some school makes a mistake, we'll take a strong action against them, because it is on the school level, because we have a different system in Maharashtra, that these are aided schools where the management is private and we the cancel schools grants also, and we'll close that school also, because we are very strict about child safety. So
one
you will have to understand
is a lapse on part of the school administration. The people, the parents of so many other students sending their young girls to schools.
Madam, I cannot hear you properly, but as far as I could understand a little, I think you are talking about the delay in the FIR.
Yes.
That we have taken action. I requested honorable not only transferer but suspender, so that there won't be any negligence in future from the police department as well.
Will a committee be constituted? Something?
I'll have to, madam, leave now for Badlapur, because the crowd is demanding
more going forward.
Of course, what I have done now, that we are installing our own system by which our commissioner office will be linked with each school. I have asked them to take children's safety as the first priority, and that will be done because that's why I will be sitting them till late in the night and will immediately, and the department reacts on it immediately. But right now I'm education minister, so I'll have to Honorable Home Minister is very sensitive. Every 15-20 minutes the Honorable CM is online with me, instructing me what is to be done in Maharashtra. They are very much concerned about the current situation and what unfortunate incidents happen. So I have spoken to Child and Women Welfare Department also, so that the immediate help reaches the parents. Also the good mental care is to be taken by the small children. That is also being will be taken. So I am visiting the spot immediately, and there will take every care to see that the family is properly protected. Identity is not to anybody, also reaches them in time. So whatever unfortunate incidents has happened, we feel very sorry about that, and we are taking every step to see that the incidents.
Okay, Sarkar, first up, tell us a little bit about the investigations. There is so much.
Welcome back. 2 days after the Union Public Service Commission called applications for lateral entries, the centre today has rolled back the advertisement. The centre wrote to UPSC lateral entry to 45 posts of joint secretaries, directors and deputy secretaries across 24 ministries on a contract basis. Now, Union Minister Jitender Singh wrote in a letter to the UPSC chief saying the Prime Minister believes that the move should be aligned with social justice, which in other words is a reference to reservations that are part of UPSC. Now, just before today's call to retract the decision, the BJP-led NDA government had pushed and defended lateral entries. It had said that while the move is to infuse fresh talent to further improve ease of governance, it had also argued that the lateral entry was done into bureaucracy under UPA 2, that in fact their decisions are also based on the Administrative Reforms Commission report in 2005. The government cited that Manmohan Singh, the likes of Montek Ahluwalia, were also inducted earlier under UPA as lateral entries. It defended the move, saying the government had said that they will ensure recruitment through UPSC in a fair and transparent manner. Today, of course, the government has made a U-turn. In this letter to Chairman of UPSC Preeti Sudhan, Union Minister Jitender Singh has written that the Prime Minister believes that the process of lateral entry is indeed in line with social justice and equity, and that it should be open unlike previous ad hoc appointments, but he's for reservations and inclusivity in public employment, and that it should address historical injustices, promote fair representation, which is key. The government seeks to ensure, the letter says, that deserving candidates from marginalized communities receive their rightful representation in government services. Of course, their own allies like the LJP and the JDU had opposed asking for these lateral entries precisely on those lines or for those reasons. But it's not as if the stand of the opposition or the principal opposition party, the Congress party, is any less hypocritical, because in the past they have not only done lateral entries, they've also justified it. When in government, the UPA's 2008 notification explicitly mentioned lateral entry in certain reports. Now the Congress says that government's lateral entry initiative is an anti-national step. Earlier, UPA notification said outside talent is desirable for certain positions, but now the Congress says that government's lateral entry is meant to scuttle quota for SC, STs and OBCs. So while the government's U-turn is coming because possibly it's wary of that reservation spin, which admittedly for what a collateral damage in this caustic politics. I'll take that up with the guest joining us in just a bit.
जो ये राहुल गांधी जी जो नेता प्रतिपक्ष भी हैं लोकसभा में, वो बेबुनियाद आरोप हम पर मनमोहन जिनको आपने सीधा ही वित्त सचिव बनाया, लेटरल एंट्री नहीं था क्या?
This was the opening of the door to the ending of reservations. So that is why Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, other political leaders of India parties said that this is an assault on the constitution, this is the privatization of the civil. In 2 days, till yesterday, the blame was Ashwini Vaishnav and other ministers were blaming Dr. Manmohan Singh. Some people were saying ये नेहरू के ज़माने से चला आ रहा है. So they were now trying to find excuses.
देखिए, मैं और मेरी पार्टी पूरी तरीके से स्पष्ट है कि जिस तरीके से ये नियुक्तियां निकाली हैं, कतई हम लोग इसका समर्थन नहीं करते और ख़ास तौर पर सरकारी नियुक्तियां कोई भी हों, उसमें आरक्षण के प्रावधानों का ध्यान रखने की ज़रूरत है.
Let's go across to our guest joining us. G. Kumar Nayak is Congress MP joining us. Paramveer Singh is political analyst, backs the BJP, and Mayank Sinha is leader of the JDU. Let me go across to Paramveer Singh first. This is a little embarrassing because the government, it's clear, is bowing down to the pressure of its own allies, plus the opposition on an issue which it seemed was, it felt fair. This number pressure. That's how it comes across, that now this government, Modi 3.0, has even less numbers than last 2 times, and therefore there have been this start.
I don't consider this as a U-turn, first of all. The point is, we live in a democratic country where we go by yes and no. We see through the pros and cons of any policy which has to be implemented for the country and for the people of the country. Lateral entry is not a new thing. And neither it was being done for the first time in India. But the government has backed off from it. You cannot say it is just mere political pressure on the government. We need to address every situation from the point of view for every common citizen. Lateral entry, you do not find it this is not the concept which is being implemented in part. Maybe America, maybe Europe. I don't want to name any of these countries. But it is being done in other parts of the world also. So, being backed from us, we have different situations here in India. We need to address all the aspects. And sorry to state that from the 2024, that gin, which was bottled earlier, that Jatigat Janganna and all these reservations they had been in the political scenario from long ago, but they have come out of the bottle recently. Thanks to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, thanks to the opposition when they are directly calling for social justice in the name of caste census or any other things. But the point is there that 2027 UP elections or maybe the 2029 Lok Sabha elections are there. They are aiming at that point only. So they need to. This is an era when I have read earlier. There was an era when Mandal and Kamandal politics was there. Mandal era, Kamandal era, Mandal era. So this is the beginning of that era. And where everything has to be linked up to the caste of a person or an individual, and all the problems, what a person is coming through or dealing with, have to be linked up to the caste of that person.
Okay, so you are indeed accepting that there was a fear that just like what happened during the elections, this could be used to give that reservation spin, even though the UPA has done the same in the past. Mr. Nayak, this is a serious question that goes to parties like the Congress, where people are accusing the party of playing such negative politics, where even good ideas are becoming collateral damage because a lot of spins are being given, and the Congress, after the farm law issue, is once again going back on what it brought into governance, which is lateral entries.
Thanks for referring to the farmers law, and it took almost 16 months of struggle for the government to realize what folly it was, and that's how it has been rolled back. In this case, it is just 72 hours. It's a victory on behalf of the weaker sections, SC, ST and OBC, for the Rahul Gandhi, which it is very clear that it is more about constitution, democratic way of functioning, rather than just being election as you have been trying to make out. Elections are part of the game, but the democratic process of functioning, being responsive, hearing the opposition, hearing the voices of the very
constitutional or the democratic issue here? These advertisements or entries have happened under the UPA 2. This is government's call or the UPSC's call to invite entries for specific positions which are not directly linked or directly always filled by the UPSC. These are specialist positions, as Mr. Meghwal said a day or two ago. Has the Congress now abandoned the idea of lateral entries?
About it's the transparency in recruitment and the prevailing atmosphere of crony capitalism and the saffronization of the entire government machinery. That is what is the cause of concern. It is suspect that any transparent recruitment would take place. UPSC would have been circumvented. Even the modicum of kind of transparency that would be there would be shattered by this kind of.
Okay, so you are the issue. So reservation was the issue because Congress leaders have said this was a gate opening of some sort of a cancellation of reservation. Then why bring in reservations at all?
It is not only the Congress party which made that point. It is also the allies of the NDA who made the point. It's very clear that the move was initiated somewhere else. The powers that move this government are the ones who are responsible for this move. It's very clear. As by the efforts of Rahul Gandhi ji.
Okay, Mayank Sinha, is it because of Rahul Gandhi's pressure or the JDU and the LJP ally pressure that you think the government has taken it back?
No, there is no pressure. We are serious concerned about it, and reservation must follow for support for this lateral entry without following the Constitution of India and the reservation policy. Our Chief Minister and our party very clear view on such appointments. For any reservation policies should be followed, and there is no if and but. If any kind of government appointment, the reservation policy is followed according to the Constitution which was provided, and it will be. We will quite worrying about it. We are the part in the government, and we have the platform to put such issues before government. No role. We have a part of the government, and we have the platform to put all the things, all the issues regarding for the.
But Congress is saying that this is because of them. This is because of Rahul Gandhi, not because of you.
Already, Congress made a mistake in NTPC chairman in the Congress regime. Montek Ahluwalia in the Congress regime. They are in the lateral entry. So there is no mouth of the Congress to speak before this type of things. So Congress must think about the past कि उन्होंने क्या किया था अपने टाइम. So we are just.
Mr. Nayak, why should anyone take the Congress stand seriously today when you've done the same thing? That's what the video is asking.
No, we would like to find Dr. Manmohan Singh in their camp. This is a wholesale structural change that they are trying. They have in the level of Joint Secretary, Deputy Secretary and Director. This is a direct dilution of the steel frame of India. The bureaucrats who serve 15 years, 20 years and 25 years reach this position. I myself am a civil engineer. I am an IAS officer who was retired as Additional Chief Secretary. I know that there is a huge talent pool in the IAS which is available. When we are recruited, we have been doctors, engineers and specialists of various kinds. Added to that, the experience of 15 to 20 years of serving in the government would enable us to do this intra-sectoral perspective, to a very sector-specific specialist. The dilution cannot be to this large extent that is being thought of. If at all you require a specialization, one can get them in the advisory roles. Advisory
to spread reservation or the quota cancel ho jayega, constitution change ho jayega, fire. Is that justified to play politics?
Absolutely. this government is resorting to outsourcing of government. Now it is trying to privatize the IAS. So this kind of an assault, and to ensure that the elections get bureaucracy is not of this government, it is of the powers that move this government.
No, but I'm still not understanding how it is an agenda today, but it wasn't when the UPA brought this in. I don't think you've been able to sufficiently answer that. The difference may be 30 posts then and 40 posts now, but the concept is the same.
No, very, very few of them. Most of them are in the advisory role if you go through the list.
Okay, let me give Mayank Sinha 30 seconds, then Paramveer Singh will come in. Yes, Mayank.
In the past, more than 100 people through lateral entry in the Congress regime. So those are the highly qualified peoples. NTPC chairman is highly qualified over there and a length of experience to work over there. So the Congress जो किया उसको पछतावा नहीं है. अभी जो मोदी गवर्नमेंट ने लाया तो we are put the issues before the government. Constitution of India तो उन्होंने तो कैंसिल कर दिया ना. इन्होंने कोई पोस्ट कैंसिल किया क्या? इनसे पूछिए कि इनके टाइम में जो भी वैकेंसी लैटरल एंट्री के थ्रू उन्होंने रखा जितने 100 लोगों को, तो उनका क्या क्वालिफिकेशंस था, उन्होंने क्या योगदान दिया था उस क्षेत्र में.
Okay, Paramveer Singh, why don't you also come in and then Mr. Nayak can respond in one go.
Shivani, one of the most commonly things common people do is to shut their eyes from the facts. The fact right now is only the central government needs the strength of IS officers. Central government need is around 1400. And what I have read about it, today's current strength is only 492 IS officers serving for the central government. You have a balanced pool of 1000 officers. Where are you going to get these officers in a blink of eye? Lateral entry, you are saying it is not acceptable for you, but we cannot just stop this idea just that because the political narrative is being floated in the public domain, that this may hurt the ethos of the social liberty and all the things what we all. But you cannot just, there has to be any provision. From where will you get that 1000 officers?
Okay.
And moreover,
but you know, Paramveer Singh, the question that is coming in people's mind is, all of this is good conversation and debate we had. Like the stomach to take on the opposition even on issues it believes in, and therefore good measures might, you know, be the bathwater, the baby that gets thrown out with the bathwater. That's the worry that the public has. How will reforms happen if, you know, government keeps doing things and rolling them back?
but that is, I don't fully agree with you, Shivani, because the time the government is not in the of government needs to check balance. You have to evaluate the pros and cons. Government has not scrapped the policy. They have just said that they have reconsidering the policy.
Okay, all right. I have to leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Let the public decide if this was a good move to begin or to take it back is the move by the central government. And for a very short break, Hard Facts with Rahul Shivshankar coming up next.
Anger visible in the streets. Across the state, we're going to see this kind of a movement pick up in hours to come. What's happening as far as investigations are concerned, Mr. Deepak?
The delay in taking the FIR is the cause of anger among the people. The lady was transferred, but now I am requesting the Honorable Home Minister to suspend her. As far as education department is concerned, the principal of that school, the class teacher, notice issued. My entire department is with me in Mumbai. I have called all my 4 IAS officers and other people to see that such incidents don't happen elsewhere in Maharashtra. 8 months back, I have taken the issue, and almost out of 1 lakh schools, 82 schools are registered under the scheme which takes care of the small children. initiative that we are going to take, because in the morning only I came to know about these incidents. Immediately all the machinery is geared up, not only to discuss about this, but today itself all decisions should be taken, GR should be issued, and second thing is punishing the culprit, which is very important. So I am requesting the Home Minister also to take this in fast track court and then give a special prosecutor so that the culprit is punished immediately. Various sections, those are imposed in this case. Total 74, 75 and 76 of POCSO at 13.5 years of jail for this criminal. And I think that if that action is taken immediately, no other person will dare do this. The CCTV, we have made it compulsory for all schools to have CCTVs. We were very upset to found that the CCTV installed in the school was not working. So we have issued to the notice to the management as well. We already have the committees. We are further strengthening it, and we'll have to see that with this kind of unfortunate incident, we'll have to take care that such incidents don't happen anywhere else in Maharashtra, and that's why my entire team of education with me that to leave for Badlapur because it is a need of the hour, but I'll join back until 12 o'clock. I ask my all of
important time for you, crucial time for you. You're telling us about the several assurances from the state government sent, but how is this allowed to happen, sir? You're telling us that, you know, you personally have ensured that schools are installing CCTV cameras, all of those surveillance measures are in place, but that's exactly what didn't happen here. That's exactly what was not being followed in this school.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
You're watching The Hard Facts, brought to you live from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Madam Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, it is now futile to try and deny that your administration was not found wanting in investigating the